Hi there, everyone. Welcome to Grind Hustle. This is where I share two main topics: personal finance management skills and the life experiences I've accumulated over the years. Now let's dive right into today's topic. I believe the ultimate goal of everything we do is the pursuit of happiness so that we can live a life worth living. But there's a crucial piece of the puzzle we often overlook, and missing this piece can be disastrous. The question is, what causes us to lose our happiness? If we can't answer this question, it's like we're trying to fill a bucket with water. But if that bucket has a hole in it, we won't know how to fix it. And no matter how much water we collect, it'll just leak out. For me, the journey to find this answer has been long, full of ups and downs in both work and life. After many years, I've gradually come to realize and distill some lessons that I believe will hold value for you all, especially for the younger audience, to help you be better equipped for your journey ahead. What I'm sharing today will lay the foundation for the upcoming episodes. To kick things off, I'm going to take you through this journey from an angle that might seem unrelated to our topic: my professional work. One of the critical areas of my job involves designing user experiences. I've held a position called Principal UX Designer for quite a while. In other words, this role can be understood as someone who lays the groundwork for user experiences, upon which we build the company's products and services. Thanks to my time in that role, I had the opportunity to lead several projects and conduct in-depth research on UX design. One of the studies I'm most proud of, which I named Expectation Bar, was not only a critical foundation for many successful professional projects, but also something I've applied to various aspects of my personal life. The reason is that after years of reflection, I've come to realize that the threshold of expectation is at the root of whether we feel happy or unhappy. So, what exactly is this expectation threshold? Rather than giving you a dry definition, let me tell you an interesting story. I remember once organizing a live experiment with my team during a workshop for senior company leaders. We invited a few kids to the office and split them into 3 groups of 5. One by one, we invited each group into the conference room. Picture a large conference room with glass walls, and outside there was a waiting area where we intentionally set things up so the kids could see what was happening inside while they waited. When we invited the first group into the room, we brought out 5 large boxes of Legos. We deliberately gave them the impression that each kid would receive one of those big boxes. The kids' eyes lit up when they saw the Legos. But as we brought the boxes closer, we opened them up to reveal 2 smaller boxes inside, and we gave each kid just one of those smaller boxes. Naturally, the kids were a bit disappointed. We then interviewed each child individually and asked them to rate their happiness on a scale from happy to disappointed, 10 being extremely happy and 0 being extremely disappointed. The results showed that most kids rated their happiness between 3 and 4. During this activity, since the room was made of glass, the kids in the other 2 groups could see what was happening inside and had an idea of what to expect. When the second group entered, we gave them the remaining small Lego boxes, and their survey results showed ratings between 6 and 8. Finally, when the third group came in, we told them that the Lego boxes were all gone and that each kid would only get a chocolate bar. The kids were disappointed, but as they began opening their chocolate to eat, we announced that since they had been so well behaved, we had sent someone out to buy 5 more Lego boxes to give them. Naturally, the kids were overjoyed, and their survey results reflected this. Most rated their happiness between 9 and 10, with one child even drawing a heart next to the 10. This was just a fun experiment to show the leadership group the importance of setting expectation thresholds. Of course, in our research, we conducted much more in-depth surveys with actual customers, but through this story, we can clearly see that with the same outcome, just by setting different expectations, the experience can be completely different. With the first group, We intentionally set the expectation that they'd get a big Lego box, so when they only received a small one, they felt disappointed. The second group received exactly what they expected, and with the third group, when their expectation was to receive nothing, but we surprised them with more than expected, the experience was overwhelmingly positive. As I mentioned, although this research on expectation thresholds was conducted for professional purposes, the more I thought about it, the more I realized it applies to many other areas of our lives. That is the foundation for building the Swedish lifestyle mindset of just a right amount. So, what exactly is the expectation threshold? It's when we set a milestone or standard for ourselves and consider it the norm, something we're entitled to receive. When faced with reality, we then realize there's a gap between our expectations and reality. This gap is what I call the expectation gap in my field. If this gap is positive, meaning our expectations are higher than reality, it leads to disappointment. The greater the gap, the larger the disappointment. Let's say you expect your child to be a prodigy, to be the top student in the city. When your child only ranks 5th in the class, you might feel disappointed and overlook the fact that your child is actually among the top 10 students. This is dangerous because even though we have a good reality, if our expectations exceed it, we still won't feel happy. On the other hand, if this gap is negative, meaning your expectations are lower than reality, you'll naturally feel happy. This is the essence of the just the right amount mindset. Now, looking at this formula, we can see that in most cases, the reality of life is a fixed constant. If it does change, it changes slowly, not overnight. And since reality is a fixed constant, the other factor determining our happiness is our expectations. The higher our expectations, the greater our disappointment. And disappointment is the root of unhappiness. This aligns with many conclusions and lessons left to us by those who came before. Barry Schwartz, a renowned psychologist, once said that the secret to happiness is low expectations. Shakespeare said that expectation is the root of all heartache. There's even another famous saying that expectations slowly kill us from the inside. To solve this issue, we need to deeply understand the origins of our expectations and how to minimize or eliminate them. In my opinion, toxic expectations usually come from 3 main sources. First, expectations can stem from our past. For example, you might have grown up in a happy family where your parents loved each other and never argued. You unconsciously consider that the norm for all families without realizing how rare it is. When you get married and have your own family, you discover that disagreements and arguments are natural parts of life. However, influenced by your past, your expectations are higher than reality. This can lead to disappointment, making you think you're in a bad relationship, and in some cases, you might even walk away without giving your marriage a chance to work things out. Instead of having a realistic view and understanding of the situation, you miss out on the opportunity to have a happy family simply because of past influences. This is the first path, where expectations arise from comparisons with the past. The second path, equally dangerous, is when expectations come from the standards we take from our surroundings. This type of expectation is very common in modern life. When we start comparing ourselves to those around us, we often set unrealistic standards. This can lead to feelings of happiness or unhappiness, depending on the comparison. For example, if you receive a month's bonus, while your colleague gets 3 months, you'll feel disappointed. On the other hand, if you're the only one in the company who gets a bonus, you'll feel happy. In both cases, you received 1 month's bonus, but the feelings are entirely different. Today's society constantly promotes a materialistic lifestyle, with flashy images of mansions and luxury cars on social media. These images make you feel that this is the norm in life, and you begin to have unrealistic expectations for your own reality. The result is that you feel like a failure, inadequate, and you lose the happiness you should be feeling with your current life. This is the second type of expectation, coming from external standards. Finally, the most dangerous expectations are those that come from your imagination. Imagination knows no bounds and often causes your expectations to exceed reality far. A prime example is girls who watch romantic movies. These stories paint pictures of beautiful love, with the main character being talented, charming, courteous, wealthy, and romantic. You then take these images, add them to your imagination, and start comparing them to the real love you have. Suddenly, you feel that your partner doesn't measure up to your expectations, even though, in reality, he's not bad at all. You may already have a good relationship, but it's the high expectations that rob you of your happiness. In summary, 3 main paths lead to unrealistic expectations: the past, your surroundings, and your imagination. To find true happiness, you need to adjust your expectations, bringing them closer to reality. This is the only way to achieve true peace and happiness in life. There's a quote I hold dear from a famous Indian spiritual teacher, Sri Chinmoy. He said, "Peace begins when expectation ends." This is the message I want to share with you all today. Peace only comes when we learn to let go of unnecessary expectations. Through today's sharing, I hope I've helped you gain a deeper understanding of where expectations come from and the dangers they pose if we don't know how to manage them. If we don't take control of our expectations, they can become like wild beasts, devouring every bit of happiness we manage to find. On the other hand, if we understand and learn how to manage them, expectations can become the key to unlocking many successes and joys in our lives. Today's conversation is an important foundation, helping you see expectations more clearly. There's still so much more to discuss, and I plan to continue sharing ways to manage expectations in the next video, guiding us to turn expectations into a driving force toward greater goals without letting them steal our present happiness. However, the conversation has gone on for a long time, so I will stop here. I will come back to these topics in the future. I hope that today's sharing has brought some usefulness to you. If you find this content valuable, please share it with your friends and relatives. Platforms like YouTube often prioritize videos with many likes, so if you find this video useful, please click the like button to help more people know about our video.